Evening, there's nothing quite like the drama of the run-in to return to. And talking of which, thanks to Chappers for holding the fort over the last few weeks. As for the build-up to the Football League weekend, well, all the talk has been about deductions. 1 point for Torquay, 3 for Hereford. And we won't even know QPR's fate until before the final game of the season. Well, we'll get Leroy's take on all of that. Plus, if you're a fan of any of those teams or any of the others who might be affected by it all, well, get in touch with Tina.
Yes, and with the battles for promotion and survival heating up, how much would those points deductions actually matter? You can get in touch with me on the text 81111 or email me footballleague@bbc.co.uk and send me your questions for Leroy as well.
Well, here's what's coming up from the N-Power Football League. It was 4th v 2nd in the Championship as Swansea and Norwich continued the battle for automatic promotion to the Premier League. A win for Norwich would see them break away from the chasing pack.
On the subject of which, what a big weekend for Brian McDermott. Yesterday, he celebrated his 50th birthday. Today, they were hoping to turn the screw on out of sorts Forest, the team whose playoff place Reading moved into last weekend. There you go, ref.
At the other end, it was getting close to the last throw of the dice for Sheffield United. Defeat at home to Middlesbrough would leave them stranded in the bottom 3 with time running out. And there was another 4th v 2nd clash, this time in League One as Peterborough travelled to Huddersfield. A win for the away team could see them move into an automatic promotion spot. Well, we had quite an afternoon in store in the Championship with 6 of the top 8 playing each other earlier today. The standout game, though, was at the Liberty Stadium as 4th place Swansea took on a red-hot Norwich who was second. For the Canaries, their challenge was to win 6 of the last 7 to guarantee promotion. Could they get the first against the Swans, who themselves had to win to keep alive their hopes of a top 2 finish? Well, Swansea made 2 changes to the team that were beaten at Preston. Angel Rangel was back in at right-back in place of Alan Tate, while Stephen Dobbie returned from injury with Darren Prattley dropping to the bench. Norwich, meanwhile, were without the talismanic Wes Hoolahan. In comes Henry Lansbury, who's on loan, of course, from Arsenal. Your commentator is Jonathan Ledgard.
Neat ball there to Tierney on the edge of the area. Comes now to Pacheco. Good run by Pacheco. Great save by De Vries, but to Holt now. And again, didn't quite get hold of it. Swansea under pressure. Norwich starting well. Pacheco, done with his man, good save by De Vries, then it comes to Holt, didn't really get hold of it, just a one-handed save. But this is Allen, young, youthful promise, and down goes Barini. That was a late challenge, surely. Missed time by Whitbread. Barini, fleet-footed, and the first sign that Swansea have some attacking purpose. Barini, right-footed. Oh, what a goal! Wonderful start. 2 goals on his debut. He's back at the Liberty Stadium, and he's given his new side renewed belief. For all their pressure, Norwich are behind. This is Crofts to Russell Martin. Pacheco busy. Look at Martin, got away from his marker. Far post, good jump by Holt. Holt dropped off to the back post, just couldn't quite get the direction. Brendan Rodgers just needing to calm. Better from Swansea. Sinclair's getting no joy down this Norwich right. If it's not Crofts, it's Martin or Elliott Ward. Here's Barini, swerves away from his marker. That was well played. And Rangel in space. Tries a low shot, well blocked, just away from Dyer. Could have been 2 then. Comes out of Goa. Oh, what a finish! What a finish! He can't believe it! Rangel had the initial shot. Norwich thought they cleared it, but what a finish there. Ruddy, no chance. Did so well with the first effort. but Gower was unstoppable. Game opening up a bit now. Rangel to Dyer, to Barini. Still Barini. Good save by Ruddy. He's been the far busier goalkeeper, has John Ruddy. Not just collecting the ball out of his net, but Swansea beginning to step up. Lovely move. Rangel to Dyer. Look at the way Norwich just backed off, and Barini seemed to get through right between the defenders. But Ruddy alert. Good save. It's a long journey back to East Anglia from South Wales. Pointless after such a good run. Free kick. Danny Pacheco, young Spaniard on loan from Liverpool, aiming for the same goal where Fabio Barini, also 20, for Swansea, gave them the lead. Curl free kick, just wide from Holt. And that should surely have been in. Best chance of the game for Norwich. Norwich looking for this goal early in this second half to give them a foothold back in the match. Got a bit of space here, 3 against 3. Looking for the right moment, doesn't really fall correctly. Good shot there, just wide! Andrew Crofts, how close was that? Swansea just backing, waiting. Well, the Vries would have had it covered, but nonetheless, it was a powerful volley. Swansea can afford to take nothing for granted here. Ward finding his man. This is Fox. Martin overlapping. Holt. Good finish. Well saved. And again, great save by De Vries. He hasn't had too much to do. Well measured build-up. Corey Smith just shaped to shoot. Did so, and following up another good save. But again, De Vries has held firm. Whitbread loses out to Priskin, could be danger here. Taking an ace to shoot, but he's done well, and Ruddy had to move quickly. Suffered when playing for Ipswich against Norwich in that 4-1 defeat. And he was almost on target then, and making Ruddy suffer. Here comes Priskin, it could be worse. Priskin still going, it is going to be worse. The final nail in the Norwich coffin. And what's worse, he's on loan from Ipswich. Norwich City are shattered. Priskin read this so well, kept on running. Whitbread looked exhausted. How crucial will that be in this championship promotion run-in?
It would be magnificent at home, and it was just of late, really. The last 3 games away from home, we haven't been at our best, but we know that we can go to anywhere in this league and win games, and I think we've shown that. So, and today was a massive test for us because Norwich are a fantastic side, terrific manager who's done great for the football club. So for us to win like we've done and play how we played in a game of this tension for us was absolutely massive for the players.
I saw it was difficult, I think, coming here, but I can't fault the lads for effort. We might have been a goal up before Swansea scored, but the free kick is a terrific free kick, and the second goal is a good strike. But we should have done better in the second goal. But the good thing is we never wilted, and we kept on going, and we had 1 or 2 chances to bring it back.
Well, they played their part in what was a terrific game. There was a lot riding on it as far as Swansea were concerned. It was win or bust for second place, wasn't it? And considering that was at stake, they played as if there was no pressure on their shoulders.
Well, they seem to do that at the Liberty Stadium. They seem to be really happy playing there. The supporters certainly are. It's a fantastic stadium, but they've settled in brilliantly. And they go and play. They play an open attacking game. Norwich
so
played
easy
their part.
on the eye.
Yeah, definitely, and Norwich played their part. It wasn't. I think the 3-0 sort of flattered Swansea, but the goals were absolutely world class.
Well, let's take another look at those goals. Obviously, Brendan Rodgers' Chelsea connection helped him to Fabio Barini. The technique behind this is something from the Chelsea training ground, isn't it?
Well, it's Drogba-like. You can see he's been practising with Didier Drogba. He's the only other player I know who hits it with a side foot with that amount of power, and that's terrific technique. I mean, we're talking about it. Ronaldo hits it with his instep and can get that sort of movement. And this goal from Mark Gower, I mean, I know Mark Gower from when he was at Southend. He's a free transfer from Southend about 2 or 3 years ago, and he used to score goals like this all the time when he was at South. I'm surprised this was his first goal this season because he has got this in his lock. He's got good technique. He's a good footballer. This is a lovely
John
strike.
Ruddy didn't have a chance with any of those two.
No chance at all. And Norwich found themselves 2-0 down, and they hadn't done a lot wrong. And that's Swansea. When they're on the top of their game, they add goals to it. But whereas away from home, they can't quite seem to do that.
So Swansea looking good up front and also at the back. And Doris de Vries, he played his part, didn't he, in keeping Swansea, keeping a clean sheet as far as Swansea were concerned.
Well, absolutely, and the 9 goals. That's all they've conceded at home this year. And De Vries and the 2 centre halves, Monk and Ashley Williams, have been instrumental in that. But he's so agile. I mean, he's 6'1", so he has to move. But as I've said before, he's an excellent half. So he's got good feet, but he used his feet well to move around and make those saves.
Well, as a result, the race for second place is very much wide open. Now, you remember Norwich's last match was that 6-0 demolition of bottom club Scunthorpe. You'd think the last thing the Iron needed was the visit of runaway leaders QPR, who were just 3 wins away from reclaiming a place at football's top table for the first time in 15 years.
You can't accuse Alan Mill of having an easy start as Scunthorpe boss. After last week's 6-0 loss at second place Norwich, next up, leaders QPR. It looked ominous for the struggling hosts when Rob Holspert ranged ahead inside 7 minutes. Wayne Routledge has been in fine form for the R's, but the winger couldn't beat Joe Murphy here. The Iron were hoping they might somehow avoid a 6th straight league defeat. It didn't look good. They'd scored the fewest goals in the Championship, but Joe Garner was unmarked to draw his team level just before the half hour. The form of these two teams could hardly have been any more different. Rangers were chasing a 4th straight win, but the Championship's bottom team went in front after the break. On loan Forest forward Garner, again in the right place. The Scunthorpe faithful had seen just 4 home league wins all season, but Michael O'Connor scored a stylish 3rd, and you'd hardly know who was at which end of the table. Amazingly, there was still more to come. Another uncharacteristic mistake by the Rangers' defence. Chris Dagnall teed up Mark Duffy to make it 4-1. A sensational scoreline, and what a difference a week makes. But is it all too late for Alan Mill's team?
I can't really explain it, but I'm quite sure that if you have that sort of work ethic and that sort of togetherness, you don't lose 6-0. And that's what we've tried to work on all week. That when people come to work here, I expect them to work, and I expect them to work through the week and then on the Saturday.
Doncaster Rovers are flirting dangerously with the relegation zone. 1 win in their last 12 is hardly the form you want to be in for the visit of promotion-chasing Cardiff. It was Rovers who started the game well. Leicester loanee Frank Musa testing Tom Heaton's reactions early on. Cardiff have also been struggling for form, 1 win in their last 5, and in their first meaningful move of the game they took advantage. Jay Bothroyd backheeled for Chris Burke to rifle his 3rd in as many games. Rovers conceded 4 to Cardiff earlier this season, but it was closer this time round as they levelled things with 12 minutes to go. James Coppinger's first goal since November as he picked the perfect moment to find his scoring touch to level up 1-1. With the draw seemingly in the bag, substitute Jason Kumas stepped up to break Rovers' hearts. His last-minute free kick making it 2-1. The away support had hardly finished celebrating when Kumas was at it again. He linked with Craig Bellamy to put the game out of reach. 3-1 it finished. Cardiff remain 3rd. Rovers continue to glance nervously over their shoulders.
There was a hot reception for Simon Grayson's Leeds when they met Millwall at the Den. 3 wins and a draw from their last 4 have pushed Millwall into contention for a playoff place, and they were ahead when James Henry marked his 100th career appearance in the perfect way. Both these teams have made strong cases for back-to-back promotion, but the hosts started stronger. Liam Trotter on the end of Andros Townsend's corner, and Millwall were 2 up. With Billy Painter suspended, Luciano Becchio began up front for Leeds. The Argentine striker gave hope to the 2,000-plus away fans who'd made the trip south. These two have had a spiky rivalry in recent years. There was a noisy South London crowd that roared the Lions onto their 3rd. Steve Morrison beating Kasper Schmeichel to the ball for his 15th championship goal of the season. Andy O'Brien pulled back another goal in stoppage time for the visitors, but there was no time for a comeback as Millwall closed the gap on Leeds to 4 points. An exciting run-in guaranteed for both of these sides.
We've moved up to 7th on the table and 4 points off top 6, so we have to keep chasing now and keep the pressure on the sides above us if we can.
Leicester and Burnley have both faltered in the Championship playoff race of late. The Clarets have taken just one of a possible 12 points. Defeat for the Foxes would mean 3 consecutive home losses. That hasn't happened for 4 years. Last week, Yakubu bagged a hat-trick against Middlesbrough. He looked set to score Leicester's opener, only for Diamansi Camara to steal the limelight in his home debut. Camara was in the thick of it as the Foxes looked to double their advantage after the break. The Fulham loanee was proving to be a handful for the visitors as he was brought down needlessly by Andre Biquet. Paul Gallagher made no mistake from the spot. 2-0 Leicester. The Clarets had no answer as Leicester began to dominate proceedings. Gallagher putting the result beyond doubt in emphatic style. This is 11th of the campaign. The rout was complete 9 minutes from time. Patrick van Arnholt picking out the corner in style for his first ever Foxes goal. With Leicester 4 up, they still found time to rattle the woodwork through Richie Welland's inventive effort. All in all, a good afternoon for Sven's side. A bad one for Burnley, for who the playoffs are a distant 7 points away.
It was all to play for at Vicarage Road as 10th place Watford welcomed Hull 11th, both sides 7 points off a playoff spot. Hull made the perfect start. 3 minutes on the clock, Liam Rosenior the provider, Corey Evans with his second goal for the Tigers since his loan move from Manchester United. The visitors continued to apply the pressure, James Chester going close. Into the second half and Watford unlucky not to draw level. Will Buckley denied by the post. Hull had won their last 3 away games. Hornets keeper Scott Loach almost gifted Evans the chance to make it 4 away wins. With full-time approaching, Hull put the result beyond doubt. Robert Corrin in acres of space to convert Tom Kearney's pinpoint cross. With time running out, there was a Watford consolation. Martin Taylor nodding home. But Hull saw the game out. 2-1 the final score. Hull now within 5 points of the playoffs.
Yeah, so Hull's incredible away form continues, but there's only one place to start after that roundup. And we've both feared the worst, didn't we? I suppose as Scunthorpe fans did when they went 1-0 down to Queen's Park Rangers. But a staggering result at Glanford Park.
It doesn't surprise me with Alan. Yeah, Alan, I like Alan a lot. He says it as it is.
Yeah.
He'll want discipline, but he's got a dry sense of humour as well. So he'll want to get them smiling. And this result will certainly get them smiling at Glanford
Full
Park.
credit to Scunthorpe, and they certainly caught QPR off, on an off day, because this was uncharacteristically bad defending on their behalf.
Well, the thing with QPR, they haven't made many mistakes this season, and Clint Hill, they usually what's he doing? He usually just kicks it off the pitch, not a problem. And they get punished. Paddy Kenny made a mistake, which he hasn't done all season, and they've got punished all in one game. And that's what Neil Warnock will be saying, look, let's make sure we go and do it right. Do what we've been doing all season and get over the line. And
the race, of course, for second place hots up. Cardiff, and with 2 goals from super sub Jason Kumas, this could be season-defining, couldn't it?
Well, he came on the 87th minute. I mean, this was after 3 minutes after he came on. That is just top quality. He's just on loan from Wigan. And, I'm not sure that Sean O'Driscoll can call upon that sort of talent from the bench.
As for Leicester, they're back to winning ways now. They've had a bit of a topsy-turvy time of late. 5 points needed from 6 games to make the playoffs. Have they given themselves too much to do, or can they do it?
Well, they need to win the last 6 games. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But very surprised by their topsy-turvy form. At home, they seem to be fine. But they've got the players. Van Aanholt here with a lovely finish. And Van Aanholt, Bruma, Yakubu, Kamara. It's not that they haven't got the quality there. They just need to knuckle down and go and get the wins. That's all they've got to chase now. And if they get the 6 wins, then they'll see what happens.
No win in 5 as a result for Eddie Howe. A real test for him. His first real test, maybe, at Burnley. Now, according to recent results, there was always going to be one winner in today's game between Nottingham Forest and Reading. Clem went along to see if the form book held up. Not that it did me much favour at Aintree today.
It's been an eventful last 10 days for the Reading manager, Brian McDermott. He signed a new 12-month rolling contract. Last weekend, he lifted his team into a playoff place at the expense of the team they visit today. And during the week, Reading won their 5th consecutive game to go 3 points clear of Forest with a much better goal difference. Then yesterday, the Gaffer celebrated a personal milestone, the Big 5-0. This is a microbrewery up near me, lovely little black porter. You can just sup that quietly on your own in your room tonight.
During the game?
Well, you can if you want. Lot of hours went into that. And a lot of sticking the icing back together again when I dropped it.
Yeah, I really look like I enjoyed that.
I've been looking through the record books, actually. 50 years ago, your birth date, 2-0 defeat at Watford during a season struggling against relegation in the 3rd tier. Just because I know you like to know all those kind of things.
Yeah. Is that Reading, yeah?
That was Reading, yeah.
Oh, right.
Well, they're your team, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
Glad we got that one sorted out.
Must be doing all right if you're coming to TSA.
Oh, look at this. Just pop down here a sec. Footballers' end-of-season injuries, look.
Alex Pearce training on there foot every day in training. Hard work, spirit, camaraderie, desire.
I think we've got one of the strongest squads in the Championship. You look at our second 11 at the moment, and it's really, really strong. And that's what you need. You want a good squad and pressure on places, and we've definitely got that. I mean, we've got near enough 2 positions, 2 players spare for each position.
The other day we won a game against Preston. Joby McAnuff had come off the pitch, Brian Howard had come off the pitch, Hal Canoe came on the pitch, and they were the first off the bench celebrating with Hal Canoe running up the line. It was a David Pleat moment, and that sort of, for me, epitomised really what the group's all about.
Reading's recent revival is in stark contrast to Forest's miserable run. Just 4 points from the last possible 24.
If you'd have said after we beat Cardiff 2-1 that we wouldn't win another game for at least 8 games, then I'd have said you're barking mad, Clem. However, that has been the case, but we're playing well. Billy's got the boys in a good place. There's no lack of confidence whatsoever. We just haven't scored enough goals.
The club not backing the manager with transfers. Nothing in summer, nothing in January, nothing in the loan window.
You're in danger of blowing it here.
There's a potential, especially with the teams we've got left, but I'm hoping that we'll do it. I think we will.
So it all comes down to today, basically, and Tuesday night. I think don't win them, blown it.
This one promised much, it didn't disappoint. 19 minutes in, and Ian Hart's free kick fizzed past Lee Camp to give Reading the lead. Forest had drawn 8 home games in the league before this one. They had the chance to level things shortly before half-time when Michaeli Legendwood brought down Lewis McGugan. The on-loan Chris Boyd stepped up, his second goal for his adopted club. The Roars win over Preston last time, moved them 3 points clear of Forest in the promotion hunt, but the home side nosed in front in the second period, Robert Earnshaw slicing through the Reading defence. They'd hardly finished celebrating when Reading hit back. Jem Karachan's looping header beat everyone. 2-2 now. In a breathless second half, Reading went in search of a third. They didn't have to wait long. 8 minutes later, and Jimmy Kebe in the right place at the right time for his 8th of the season. 3-2 to Reading. But these two sides were nowhere near done. With 2 minutes left, Chris Gunter was brought down. Another penalty to Forest. McGugan this time took the responsibility to make it 3-3. Later still, and Reading weren't willing to settle for a point. They pressed for a winner and got it. 4-3 the score. The goal originally given as a Luke Chambers own goal, but Reading will tell you Simon Church did get the final touch. The action wasn't over as Reading attacked once more and won a penalty after some clumsy work from Gunter. Shane Long stepped up, but Reading were denied a 5th goal by goalkeeper Camp. 4-3 the final score. The Royals' Premier League push gathers pace.
You're going to struggle to suppress this one, you know that. You're going to be a lot of people looking at you and thinking they are the team to watch and going into the playoffs.
Yeah, well, we're not worried about that. It's about today. You know, that was a fantastic game of football and a terrific win for us. and I think well deserved, absolutely well deserved.
How big a blow to your promotion hopes is that result, Billy?
Well, there's 18 points still to go, Clem, as you know, and I've said before that, make no mistake about it, this will be a photo finish between now and the end of the season. And we're disappointed to have lost 4 goals in the manner that we lost them, to get ourselves in front, to get ourselves back in the game. It's naivety.
Yeah, Billy Davies looking understandably deflated. But everyone's drawing comparisons now between Reading and Blackpool from last season. You can see why, can't you?
Well, they've just got momentum, haven't they? And, you know, they've got a great left foot as well. I mean, Blackpool had Charlie Adam, Reading have got Ian Hart. And this is a tremendous header, Karachan, you know, a midfield player, generating that much power. And it's obviously a set piece that they've worked on, and it worked perfectly. But they really are moving forward quick. They're going to be hard to stop.
Yeah, 4 goals there, and none, interestingly enough, from Shane Long. And I should think, you know, they won't be too worried by that.
No, not at all. I mean, he missed the
penalty.
penalty.
That's a good thing.
I think he's scored 9 in 10 before today, and so. But he's worked. He works and works and works so hard. But he's added quality to his game, and the goals have given the team confidence. Well, that's Akebi, who's lightning quick,
and he has been all season.
Yeah, Kijinashvili and Ian Hart, who's had it's like a spring chicken, isn't he? And every time he gets on a free kick, you fear that he can hit the back of the net.
Yeah, you certainly do. And mired in the bottom 3, Sheffield United are starting to run out of matches and time. It's also turned out to be a hugely disappointing season for Middlesbrough, who began the weekend 4 places and 10 points above the drop zone. But a defeat today would have dragged them out of trouble, or into trouble, should I say. Adam Pope was at Bramall Lane.
The 100th meeting in over a century of clashes between the two clubs, but few can have racked the nerves more than this one ahead of kick-off. Sheffield United simply have to win. 7 points adrift of safety with just 7 games to go. They'll be hoping Middlesbrough's wretched 24-year run without a victory at the Lane continues to keep 2,500 travelling fans waiting for the 3 points they probably need to preserve their championship status. 2 changes for United since losing to leaders Queen's Park Rangers on Monday. Striker Ched Evans is injured, Nicky Montgomery misses out altogether, so Matt Lowton moves into midfield, Shane Lowry takes his place in defence, and Bjorn Helge Riise starts in a 4-3-3 formation. For Borough, Julio Arca, Andrew Davis and Richard Smallwood drop to the bench to allow Stephen McManus into defence, Nicky Bailey and captain Matthew Bates to return into midfield to complete 3 changes from the side which drew 3-3 with Leicester. McManus again to Emnes, and ball. No complaints. Matic with a free kick for Sheffield United. His arms all over the place. McManus clearly had his arm up, driven back in. All delivered in well. Drops nicely. Lowton fires towards goal. Great block. And there's the lone striker at the moment. Collins heads away. An excellent ball. And the one move that has cost Sheffield United might well yet cost them their place in the Championship. The returning captain, Matthew Bates, has strode forward and netted from close range. Emnes looked to be swallowed up by 2 defenders. How did Sheffield United concede when they had numbers over? An excellent start then for Tony Mowbray. The quality hasn't been there, but the ruthless finish certainly was. No wonder the Borough fans are loving it under him at the moment. You have to say Andrew Taylor's reverse ball inside was excellent for Bates to finish. An immediate chance for Henderson to have equalised. Left all alone at the edge of the 6-yard box. And the Sheffield United captain really has to do better by heading back across goal instead opts for the near post. Now Quinn. Lowry. Riise forward. Bogdanovic and now Henderson. Surely what a superb save from Smith. Henderson holds his head. Brilliant work by Sheffield United. Riise helps it back. Bogdanovic does his bit, and Henderson, again all alone at the back post, onside, turns it towards goal. Smith, superb save off the midriff. Henderson, good little flick. Now Riise, Bogdanovic
inside him, still Risa. Bogdanovic peels away, tries to get the header into the back post. An excellent finish, and Sheffield United are back on level terms. And Lowton, having missed an early chance into the save from Smith, gets on the end of a brilliant cross. A superb move from Sheffield United. And Bramall Lane believes, as it heaves a sigh of relief. It's 1-1, and the fight for safety continues. Now Risa. Swinging ball in, Henderson at the far post. Well, he's headed one wide, this one he heads over, and the skipper will feel that he should have got above it and had it down. Brilliant swinging ball in from Risa. No way the keeper was reaching this, and Henderson watching it all the way. Great leap. And quite clearly, the referee on the money. Slightly off the ball at first, a little lash out. Emnes just kicks at Doyle and takes out Michael Doyle. Very, very fortunate, Emnes, as he wipes his shirt under the laws of the game. That is a red card offence. McMahon looking for Emnes. Now McDonald. Twisting and turning. Still Williams. Excellent pressure. Shot fizzed in, Simonson saves well. Thunderous strike. Simonson, the first real save he's had to make. What a brilliant save, he proves it again. Williams must have thought he'd scored. Point blank, what a stop, diving low to his left. Two brilliant saves. The driven shot from McMahon, straight at him. As well to turn it behind though, through a crowd of bodies. And then Rhys Williams' effort. Well, what a brilliant stop. Stabs it to Quinn. Risa delivers it, takes a deflection, bends at the near post. Henderson, surely! Unbelievable miss from the captain. Surely the moment that would have kept Sheffield United in the Championship. Arca streaking down the middle of the park. Emnes surely with a winner. What a strike from Marvin Emnes. Middlesbrough staying up, and Sheffield United are staring at the abyss of League One football. Marvin Emnes with a wonderful strike. The Dutchman receiving it from the Argentinian, and that was an express build-up with a bullet-like finish. What a goal! What a moment for Middlesbrough, and Sheffield United are crestfallen.
Football's a cruel game sometimes, and I'm sure Mickey will come in and think they deserve more from the game, and you know, if I stand here, they possibly did, and yet that's how it goes sometimes. We've managed to hit a bit of decent form, and we got our win, so happy enough. It doesn't totally alleviate our looking over our shoulder, but we, you know, just about there. I think it's 11 points now, and we just got to keep going.
We feel slightly aggrieved because, you know, the lad who scores the goal shouldn't even be on the pitch. You know, he's kicked out at Michael Doyle, and the referee should really have sent him off. So, you know, I think we've been on the end of a couple of major decisions from the referee, and I think when he looks back at the DVD of the game, he'll be disappointed with his own performance.
Yeah, we'll look at that incident a little later. Good result for Middlesbrough, especially on the back of that 3-0 comeback with Leicester last week. But for Sheffield United, 37 goals in 40 games. You can see where the problem lies, and today was a case in point, wasn't it?
Well, you don't score when you're on top of the game. He's going to put pressure on you, and you know, I felt for Darius Henderson because he was captain. Obviously, I think he was trying too hard. You know, that one he's not really moving on to. This one, he does everything right, but Paul Smith, who's on loan from Forest, does very well. Gives him nothing to aim at, no target. And again, this one, he just snatches. He goes, you know, he just let it come onto him, and he knows that he should be scoring that, and he's good enough to put that in the back of the net. And that was really Sheffield United's undoing at the end of the day.
So what about the incident that Mickey Adams, we heard from, who was speaking about there? Was Marvin Emnes lucky to stay on the pitch?
Oh, of course. He should have got sent off. But I just wanted to have a look at this incident here. It's between Emnes and Mickey Doyle. From here, you can't see it, but Doyle just kind of grabs his face. And the referee, that's not obvious to the referee. The referee doesn't see that, and he can't see that. And Emnes reacts. That one is definitely obvious to the referee, and why he doesn't send him off. I really don't know, but it was to prove really costly because he went down the other end and managed to got the winner in the 89th minute. It's Arca there to slip the ball to him, and that really just did compound the injustice for Mickey Adams. You could see by Mickey's reaction, I think he knew that the writing was on the wall. It's going to be tough for Sheffield United to get out of it now.
Well, that result meant that Preston could move above Sheffield United if they could get any sort of result at Portsmouth.
Preston's hopes of a miracle escape from the clutches of relegation were dealt a blow with a defeat at Reading during the week. Phil Brown's team were looking to return to their recent good form and looking for their 4th win in 5. They were ahead after just half an hour thanks to a swift counter-attack. Ian Hume with his 6th goal in as many games. Pompey boss Steve Cottrell has challenged his team to put together a winning run to reach the playoffs. Greg Halford's header, level for the hosts, but they had to settle for a point, a result that helps neither side.
Ipswich Town's biggest crowd of the season, over 24,000, were at sunny Portman Road to see Paul Jewell's team take on Crystal Palace. Much has been said recently of Town's promising young striker Connor Wickham, but he's not the only teenage talent at the club. Josh Carson was making just a 3rd senior appearance, and how's this for announcing his arrival in style? That was 17-year-old Carson's first senior goal. It was some day for the Northern Irish defender. He'd also claimed his 2nd here after the break. It's the Eagles' poor away form which has kept them embroiled in a relegation battle. Palace did pull a goal back through Paddy McCarthy, but a 16th league defeat on the road means a nervy end of season lies in store. It finished 2-1 to Ipswich.
Back in November, both Derby and Coventry were in the playoff places and hoping to push on to the Premier League. How things change. Now both are desperate to avoid a late relegation fight. There was just a point between these two going into the game, but the visitors went ahead on 16 minutes when Derby couldn't clear Sammy Klingen's corner, Aaron Gunnarsson making them pay. Coventry's 2-0 victory against Watford last weekend ended a run of 7 games without a win, and they went 2 up in this game too. Marlon King's 7th championship goal of the season, putting his team in an unfamiliar position. Coventry hadn't won away since November, so when Stephen Davis headed home 2 minutes later, the home team had high hopes of a comeback. City had 4 minutes to hold out before the break, a time to keep calm and avoid making any silly mistakes, like this by King on Jamie Ward. Robbie Savage took responsibility for the penalty. 2-2 with all the action in the first half as both sides inched closer to championship safety.
Six wins in their last 7 have made Bristol City one of the Championship's form teams. They travel to Barnsley with a playoff spot still a real possibility. It couldn't have started better for the Robins. Jordan Spence doing the damage down the right. Marvin Elliott on hand for his 7th league goal of the season. Midway through the half, Elliott turned villain when he handled Jacob Mellis's intended cross. Andy Gray decisive from the spot to level things. Barnsley had lost 2 on the bounce before this one and were determined not to make it 3. Danny Haynes began the season playing for the Robins. He put Barnsley in the lead with 5 minutes left in the first half. And there was more to come. 2 minutes into first half stoppage time and the Tykes pulled further clear. Jacob Butterfield choosing the perfect moment to score just his 2nd goal for Barnsley. Bristol City had kept clean sheets in their last 2 games. That defensive strength all but evaporated here as Barnsley made it 4. Paul McShane with the final touch. With the game all but over, the Robins did manage a consolation when Stephen Foster brought down Albert Adoma for a penalty. Nicky Maynard scored from the spot. It was too little too late though, a loss which surely kills off City's lingering playoff hopes.
It's never boring between those two. The last 4 games have produced 25 goals. As for Ipswich, looks like they've unearthed another gem.
Yeah, the young Josh Carson, Northern Ireland international, and a defender who scores goals. That doesn't look bad, does it?
No,
and,
not at all.
Hopefully he won't leave the club via Twitter either,
Yes.
like another young player at that club.
Yeah, well put. As for Crystal Palace, on the receiving end of Ipswich there, they can't buy a win at the minute away from home. I think one win away, of course, all season. 3 of their 6 remaining are away, so it's all or nothing with their home form, I should think.
They've got to rely on those 3 home games, I think, and I think they've just got to. They've been solid, it's certainly been hard to beat, but they need to pick up a few wins, and I think those wins have certainly got to come at home.
Yeah, Preston, of course, struggling as well, but they've had a renaissance under Phil Brown lately. But at the end of the day, good result against Portsmouth with a draw. But at this stage, draws aren't enough.
No, not, and it's not Phil's fault. He's come in there a bit late. He's got them going again. I mean, they lost to Reading in midweek there, unfortunately, and he's certainly galvanised them. So they just got to keep going to the end of the season, and no matter what happens, they've got to take that into the next season, whether in League One or this league. But Phil has certainly done a good job. But the point is, I think they've only won 8 games all season. It's never going to be good enough.
Sets it up nicely for next weekend. The bottom 4 all playing each other. Let's get to your emails and texts, and from Championship fans. Tina, what have you got for us?
Well, let's start with the big shock of today. Struggling Scunthorpe's incredible comeback against leaders QPR. What a result. Why can't we play like that every week, says Tom. A big boost for us, but it's probably too little too late, says Stewie. And Helen says, great result, great atmosphere. Scunthorpe 3rd from bottom now. Surprisingly, more unhappy QPR fans than happy Scunthorpe fans getting in touch. Lots about the QPR's possible points deduction. Steve says, stop going on about it. It's like the media wants us to have one. Whatever happened to the best team win? Neil, not happy about it. Why the FA announcing their penalty deduction hours before the end of the season? Lots of very happy Reading fans. Nick says, great performance from the Royals. Looks like the Royals may be celebrating more than just a wedding this year. Matthew, a Forest fan, says the massive losing streak's embarrassing for us. I know how far he's taken us, but Billy Davies needs to go. Fabio Barini getting lots of love on loan from Chelsea, of course. Another quality win for the Swans. 2 words, Italian masterclass. That's from Ryan. Let's move on to Millwall Leeds. Lots of complaints about behaviour from some Millwall fans today. Probably fair to say there is some history between these two. This one with no name says the way they were taunting Leeds fans was disgusting. Now, question for Leroy to finish. Why do Hull play better away than they do at home? They have the best away record in the Championship now. That's from Richard.
Yeah, Tina, I should think I should know this answer, seeing as my son plays for them. But I think the one point is that whenever you defend away from home, it's a lot easier because you're always coming onto the ball. At home, the onus is on you to get forward. And I know that Hull have sometimes played with the diamond formation, means the fullbacks get forward. So it's a lot easier for teams, especially when they've got something like Nigel Pearson, who's very, very organised defensively, to defend away from home and play in the break. And with the introduction of the likes of Fryatt and McLean, they know they're always likely to nick a goal, and that confidence going away from home, I think it stood them in good stead, and that's why they've been on such a good run.
One more win will do it for Gus Poyet's men, on the brink of promotion after their 10th successive home league win. After Glenn Murray was fouled, Chris Wood sent the Seagulls to the dressing room happy, converting his penalty just before half-time. It's now a full year since Brighton lost a league game on their own turf, and with the grass now growing at their new stadium, the city's bubbling with enthusiasm. 16,000 season tickets already sold for next season, and the figure's still rising. From Marcus Painter's cross, Elliot Bennett topped off the latest win with a terrific strike. The only sour note for the home side came in the final minute. In a ruckus off camera, the referee decided Brighton's Gordon Greer was the main offender and reached for a straight red, which is set to rule out the skipper for most of the run-in. A huge disappointment for the Scotsman.
A huge game for both clubs, and one that could have a big bearing on the promotion race. This was a chance for Huddersfield to cement second spot, but Peterborough were desperate to close the gap. Posh came flying out of the traps. George Boyd was thwarted by the reflexes of veteran keeper Ian Bennett. Town boss Lee Clark felt they showed their high-scoring opponents too much respect in the first half, and when Lee Peltier sent Craig McHale-Smith sprawling, Posh were given the chance to make the all-important breakthrough. Grant McCann beat former Peterborough keeper Bennett from the spot to put Huddersfield's 19-game unbeaten run in serious danger. 5 minutes from the end, Huddersfield were handed a lifeline. Substitute Jack Hunt managed to escape the clutches of Grant Basie. James Wesolowski decided to take the matter into his own hands, leaving Gary Roberts with a pressure penalty. Joe Lewis looked to have preserved a precious win for Darren Ferguson's men, but he now feels his side have to win all of their remaining matches to go up automatically. At the death, they were left kicking themselves. Hunt weaved his way into the box and on his weaker left foot managed to squeeze his shot past an embarrassed Peterborough keeper. Despite the point, Huddersfield slipped to third.
There's no stopping Southampton, who made it 7 wins out of 8 at the expense of Leyton Orient. Their first goal owed much to the persistence of Ryan Dixon, normally a full-back, but playing in midfield with Adam Lallana not fully fit. His cross couldn't have been better. Ricky Lambert heading home his 18th league goal of the campaign on 26 minutes. The O's pressed in vain for an equaliser, but were caught by a late sucker punch. Lambert's first-timer setting up Lee Barnard, who tapped home his 6th goal from his last 7 matches, thereby propelling Saints into second place.
Carlisle were still glowing from their success at Wembley last week, but MK Dons quickly set about taking the shine off that Johnston's Paint Trophy victory. Daniel Powell afforded plenty of space at the far post to give Carl Robinson's promotion hopefuls the lead. It's getting really tight in that tussle for a playoff spot, so Liam Noble's ferocious leveller just before half-time was a hefty blow. And the Dons had even more problems midway through the second half. Breaking into the box, Francois Zoko had his legs whipped away by Sean O'Hanlon. It fell to James Berrett to do the honours for Carlisle. The spot kick was impressive, but the Cumbrians couldn't say the same about their defending 9 minutes from time. Angelo Balanta's equaliser prompted much finger-pointing among the Carlisle backline. That didn't seem to help. With the match deep into stoppage time, MK Dons carved them open again. Adam Clayton netting the decisive goal to leave his side as very strong contenders for a top 6 finish.
Bournemouth are wobbling when it matters. Ian Goodison marked his return from suspension by smashing Tranmere into the lead to leave Lee Bradbury fuming at the break. The Cherries boss described his side's first half display as totally unacceptable, but they appear to have rescued a point on the stroke of full time. A scissor kick from substitute Danny Ings looked to have spared Bradbury's blushes. But Tranmere, without an away win in almost 2 months, weren't finished. Bournemouth simply had no answer to Lucas Atkins' powerful run, and when Adam McGurk popped up in space, he had only one thing on his mind. His first ever goal for the club pulls them 4 points clear of the drop zone. Bournemouth stay 6th, but only just.
Rochdale failed to take advantage of Bournemouth's latest stumble, beaten by an old nemesis. Colchester's Ian Henderson had scored a late winner to give the U's victory at Spotland in August, and he came off the bench to repeat the trick with the only goal 3 minutes from time, a result which keeps Colchester's slim playoff hopes alive. But only just. Rochdale came so close to the equaliser manager Keith Hill thought they deserved. Jean-Louis Akpa-Akpro rattled the crossbar, and although Colchester's defences were stretched to breaking point, they somehow managed to hold out. A first league defeat in 5 leaves Dale still on the outside looking in, but with a crucial game in hand. If they beat Southampton on Tuesday night, they'll sneak into the top 6.
Certainly won't tarnish what has been a terrific season for Rochdale. For Brighton, however, they just reach milestones after milestones, don't they? Now it's unbeaten at home in a year.
Yeah, but it's the style in which they've done it as well, which has been fantastic for Gus Poyet. You know, and Elliot Bennett, this is a lovely strike. You know, he could be playing in the Championship, but he knows that he's going to go. Well, there's every chance he's going to be playing in the Championship with Brighton next year, and that's been key to their success. But Gus Poyet has done a marvellous job there.
From Elliot Bennett to Ian Bennett of Huddersfield, all 39 years of him.
Yeah.
And he certainly kept Huddersfield, well, in the contest here before they snatched a dramatic late draw.
This is an absolutely amazing save. He's 39 years old, but his instincts are just top draw, you know. And, you know, we know Ian Bennett was at Birmingham and he's still doing the job. And keepers sometimes they just get better. They look like a fine wine, aren't they? And he's certainly getting better with age.
And this is the late equaliser, Jack Hunt, on loan from Chesterfield. He could be celebrating 2 promotions.
That's right. Well, he was on loan to Chesterfield, and he played 20 games at Chesterfield, yeah. And so he'll get a medal there, that's for sure. And if he keeps scoring goals like that, he might just help Huddersfield get up. So it'll be a double celebration for him.
It's not been a great few days for Joe Lewis at Peterborough, has it?
No, he's made a couple of mistakes which have been highlighted, but he's a good young keeper. They paid a lot of money for him. Sometimes you go through periods as a goalkeeper where you make mistakes, you get punished, but he'll come through it.
As for the MK Dons, you'd like to think now that they've all but sealed their place in the playoffs, haven't they? I mean, a couple of their strikers getting on the score sheet today. I suppose that's what happens when Robbie Fowler pops in and helps the strikers out in training.
That's right, Clayton got the winner there, and when you can call on people like that, you've got every chance, haven't you? Carl Robinson's done a good job, and John Gorman's good to see him then.
Certainly have. Well. Now, with 7 games to go, Plymouth's fate looks all but sealed, but a win against fellow strugglers Walsall would have at least given Peter Reid's men a ray of hope.
The Great Escape looks unlikely, but Plymouth are still in there fighting. Rory Fallon went close to heading them in front against fellow strugglers Walsall. The giant Kiwi striker was a major doubt for this one, but the management were left singing his praises. Fallon's diving header setting up Yannick Bolasie to score their first goal in 3 matches. Argyle ahead just 6 minutes after the restart. Peter Reid brought on Rory Patterson for the closing stages, and the striker marked his introduction in spectacular fashion. The Irishman leaving the Walsall defence for dead to seal the points with barely 2 minutes left. Argyle still have a mountain to climb. A first defeat in 4 leaves the Saddlers 3 points from safety.
Having lost the Johnstone's Paint Trophy final last weekend, Brentford failed to banish their post-Wembley hangover against Swindon. Jeffrey Schlupp, on loan from Leicester, wasting their best opportunity. Instead, it was the Robins in full voice with their first victory in over 3 months. And what a belter of a winner. Calvin Andrew, on loan from Crystal Palace, with a beauty 10 minutes from time. 5 points from safety. They still have plenty to do to avoid the drop, but Swindon have hope again.
Dagenham's style isn't always pretty, but it was extremely effective against their fellow strugglers. Danny Green can deliver a good cross, and John Akindi made that one count to put Notts County in trouble. By half-time, their caretaker boss Carl Heggs had a lot more to worry about. John Nurse got goal side of Graham Lee, though not for long. The referee had no doubts about what he'd seen. Lee was off, and from the free kick, Green was able to set his sights on goal. A fantastic strike to put the Daggers in control, and their Route 1 approach continued to cause havoc for the county defence. Nurse was thwarted acrobatically by Sam Sodji, but the panic wasn't over. After John Spicer upended Akindi, Green showed he's as adept from 12 yards as 25. So Dagenham all set to climb clear of the relegation zone and dump their opponents there instead. And Jogu Dembanairan's goal was a mere footnote for a fearful Notts County who've lost 7 in a row.
An emotional farewell to Marcus Stewart, the Exeter striker deciding that this game would be the last of his career, and where better to finish than where it all started. Stewart spent 10 years with Rovers, who despite their recent upturn in form remain in serious trouble, but his current club still have a shot at the playoffs. After a goalless first half, Exeter scored twice late on to secure their 3rd win in a row. Stewart almost connected with Ryan Harley's cross. In the end, it was left to Daniel Nardiello to finish the job. Rovers remain a point above the relegation zone, but went close to stretching their unbeaten run to 5 matches. Wayne Brown and then Joe Kufuor were both denied a leveller. And with time almost up, Nardiello sealed the win that lifts Paul Tisdale's men to within 5 points of the top 6. Harley's pinpoint pass sent the striker away for his 12th of the season to ensure Exeter finished the West Country derby on top. That had the travelling fans on their feet, but by the finish, everyone joined in to give the retiring Stewart a standing ovation as he called time on a long and illustrious career.
Every so often you just have to salute a good goal, like this one from Yeovil's John Obika, the striker on loan from Spurs, drawing applause from all 4 sides of Victoria Park for that 10th minute opener. But that was as good as it got for the Glovers. Hartlepool will level 8 minutes later. Adam Boyd making the most of a rare start to lash in his first goal since August. And Pools went in front just past the hour. Leon McSweeney's corner fell to Sam Collins, whose cheeky first timer left Yeovil keeper Stephen Henderson flat-footed. Manager Mick Wadsworth has declared himself happy with Hartlepool's season, and this win effectively guarantees their League One status. Colin Larkin made sure of that with his third league goal of the campaign on 69 minutes. Yeovil still with some work to do to make sure they stay in the division.
No goals at Boundary Park, even though Charlton played almost an hour with 10 men. Christian Daheley lashing out in retaliation for Ruben Reid's high challenge. The Scotsman knew what was coming straight away, his third red card of the campaign. Oldham scored a couple last week, but otherwise they've struggled for goals for months. And despite the eye-catching efforts of Cedric Avina, this was the same old story. Charlton keeper John Sullivan in fine form as he made an outstanding debut on loan from Millwall.
Well, they certainly got the short straw at Boundary Park. That was the only goalless draw in all 4 leagues, would you believe it? Big wins, however, for 3 struggling sides, Plymouth, Dagenham, Redbridge, and particularly for Swindon.
First win in 19, I think it's the first win since early January. So Calvin, Andrew, take a bow. Paul Hart's gone and got him from Crystal Palace where he was last season, and hopefully they can now start getting some results, because it's been a long time coming.
And we also saw Marcus Stewart play his final game after 20 years. He's been a classy customer in his day, hasn't he?
An absolute class act. He's always pleasing on the eye. He moves really well. Great left foot. He might have lost a little bit of hair. He might have lost a little bit of pace. But he's never lost his class. He's a fantastic goal scorer.
I wonder if you had some emails and texts through regarding Marcus Stewart. So, Tina, what have you got for us?
He has. We'll get to those. But first, let's start with Southampton, up to second, replacing Huddersfield with 2 games in hand. Come on, Saints. Great result, lads. Well done. Keep up the good work. Promotion just matches away. That's from James and Jack. Aaron says another fantastic result to go second. We're in a great position now. Let's keep it up. Super Saints, we're second now and there to stay. That's from Richard. Dons hardly ever get mentioned on the Football League show, but I think they especially deserve it today. There you go. Brian says a mention maybe for the MK Dons goalkeeper and his celebration on our 3rd goal with only 5 seconds of the game left. It shows how important it was. Glenn from Swindon, as I keep saying, keep the faith and we can do this. Paul Hart is the man. Plenty of Tranmere fans on the text tonight. We're magnificent today. So happy we've decided to pass it about a bit, and it worked. We never gave up. We are staying up. Joe says, wow, what a win for Tranmere. Nice to win it in the last minute too. I hope we can keep this up for our next game against Dagenham and Redbridge. And on to Dagenham and Redbridge's win over Notts County today. Martin says it would be a disaster if Notts go down after such a magical season last season. And finally, a question for Leroy, and it's about Plymouth. Don't know if this is wishful thinking. Do you think they can stay up?
If I was a betting man, Tina, let's put it this way, I wouldn't bet on them, but I think that success for Plymouth would be playing in the league next year. If they're in the league and they're taking part, I think that the fans will be happy.
Right, let's get to League Two then, and Friday's game at Moss Road. Accrington were after a win over Macclesfield, which could have seen them move into the automatic promotion places. What a game it turned out to be.
Macclesfield spent the week practising long throws, convinced they could exploit Accrington's lack of height. They were right. Hamza Ben Sharif keen to point out he'd got the final touch. On the floor, Accrington looked a lot more comfortable. Back on terms in the second half with a beauty from Andy Proctor. And it seemed on track for a 4th successive league win once Carl Tremarco had bowled over Terry Gornell, earning himself a yellow card in the process. Phil Edwards inflicted the bigger punishment, and as if a perfect penalty wasn't cause enough for Stanley to celebrate, Tremarco then talked his way into more trouble. After he questioned the linesman's integrity, Macclesfield were left a man light as well as a goal down with just 9 minutes to go. So it was a shock for the promotion chasers to let the lead slip in stoppage time. 2 points dropped, which see Accrington slip out of the top 7. Vinnie McKendy snatching an excellent draw for the home side.
Perhaps even to their own surprise, Hereford restored those lost 3 points with a thumping of the division's runaway leaders. The Bulls' home form has been patchy at best this season, so Stuart Fleetwood's header on 11 minutes was a real bonus. Chesterfield didn't offer a lot in response, but Craig Davis must have upset the football gods. He hit the post twice last week, and his luck certainly hasn't changed. Stephen Leslie, on loan from Shrewsbury, made it 2 14 minutes from time with his first goal for Hereford, and he may never score a better one. Spyrite's boss John Sheridan offered no excuses and apologised to the travelling support, who at least had another good goal to admire. Joe Colbeck's 5th league effort of the season, concluding the scoring 9 minutes from time. Manager Jamie Pittman, their physio at the start of the campaign, looks to have guided the Bulls to safe pastures.
In the last few weeks, I think we've shown that we're capable of getting a good result, but against the league leaders who are going very well, absolutely delighted.
The M40 derby as the U's met the Blues. Second place Wycombe made the 23-mile journey on a 4-game unbeaten run, whilst Oxford were chasing a 3rd home win on the spin. Alfie Potter's fabulous finish had the hosts ahead at the break. And Oxford's slim hopes of a playoff place were boosted just 9 minutes after the restart. Potter's cross was heading for James Constable, but before it could get there, Dave Winfield put through his own net to double their advantage. Wycombe were now staring into first defeat in 5 matches, but just past the hour, Scott Rendell headed home his 4th goal in as many matches to raise hopes of a comeback. And the turnaround was complete just 3 minutes later, Jean-Paul Pittman volleying in the equaliser to keep Wycombe in 2nd.
Another triumph for League Two's Manager of the Month, Dean Holdsworth. His Aldershot team set on their way by Danny Hilton's fancy footwork. Shrewsbury had just won 3 in a row, but knew their successful sequence was in serious jeopardy just 5 minutes after the opener. Against his old club, with the help of a wicked deflection, Ben Hurd stretched the shot's advantage. It took Hilton to bring him back down to earth. The Shrews' defeat was sealed 13 minutes from time when Jermaine McGlashan cut inside Matt Sadler and had his ankles tapped. Hilton stepped up to complete a convincing win for the home team, who've gone 9 games unbeaten, while Shrewsbury slip out of the automatic promotion places.
Northampton are being sucked ever deeper into dangerous waters, and it was obvious that this wasn't going to be their day when keeper Chris Dunn had to be replaced inside the first 10 minutes. Manager Gary Johnson forced to send out Stephen Collis on loan from Peterborough for his Cobblers debut. It wasn't to be a happy one. Bury are thriving despite the departure of manager Alan Nill, and the breaks are certainly going their way. A deflected ball couldn't have fallen more kindly for Ryan Lowe to put away his 26th of the season in all competitions midway through the first half. And when Nicky Ajosi was given a clear run on goal 4 minutes later, this one had an air of inevitability about it. The youngster on loan from Manchester United with a cool finish. Another break went against the Cobblers 3 minutes before half-time. Damien Mazika's first shot was blocked, but the ball fell kindly for the Frenchman, and his second effort took a cruel deflection off Jamie Reckford to leave Collis stranded. Caretaker boss Richie Barker says his ambition is to avoid the playoffs if possible, and Ajose's 4th goal from Barker's 2 matches in charge helped propel the rampant Shakers into the automatic promotion places. In sharp contrast, things are looking increasingly gloomy for a Northampton side who haven't won in their last 15 league games, which probably explains why celebrations were muted when Sean Harrod put away his 16th of the season just before the hour. And there was an even better one from the Irishman in stoppage time. A perfectly executed lob putting a veneer of respectability on the final scoreline. But the brutal reality is that Northampton have yet to win under Johnson and are now just 2 points clear of the relegation zone.
Heartbreak for Stockport, who came within a whisker of pulling off one of the shocks of the day. Stevenage, chasing a 7th successive win, took almost an hour to make the breakthrough. Mark Roberts making it 3-3 to give the promotion hopefuls the lead. But the bottom club responded with 2 goals in the space of 3 minutes to keep their faint survival hopes alive. Laurie Wilson was punished for handling Danny Rowe's cross, and that gave Greg Tansey the chance to equalise from the spot. Success from 12 yards gave Stockport renewed belief. Although Matt Glennon had to be sharp to keep out Chris Beardsley, but by now, County's momentum was building, and from Glennon's long kick, the hosts forged ahead. A defensive mix-up presented Matt Patterson with an offer that he simply couldn't refuse. But in a cruel twist, Stevenage hit back when Wilson thumped in a last-minute equaliser. Time's running out for Stockport. and so is their luck.
Having a point taken away by the Football League in midweek did nothing to break Torquay's stride. Kevin Nicholson's first half blast put them in front before Jake Robinson, whose appearance while ineligible earlier in the season prompted the deduction, robbed Lee Bullock to put the second on a plate for Gavin Tomlin. Even Bradford manager Peter Jackson had to admit his side was definitely second best. Torquay rubber stamping their first league victory at City for 39 years through Billy Key. The Devon club are up to 5th.
Josh Gowling's first action in more than 2 months was certainly productive. The Gillingham defender opened the scoring on 20 minutes against a Lincoln side he'd played for on loan earlier in the season. And that was just the start of a comfortable away win for a Gills side now unbeaten in 15. Cody McDonald's header doubling the advantage shortly before the break. That was his 23rd league goal of the campaign, and the striker on loan from Norwich must have thought he'd chalked up number 24 just before the hour. Instead, that's now been attributed as an own goal. Lincoln's Danny Hone, the unlucky man. The Gills famously couldn't win away not so long ago. Now they look unbeatable. Adebayo Akinfenwa nodded home a 4th, which keeps the Kent side firmly in the playoff picture, and Lincoln, on a 5-game losing streak, still not completely clear of danger.
Port Vale boss Mark Grew remains optimistic about his side's playoff chances, despite being held to a frustrating draw by Southend. In truth, Vale were poor, although the same can't be said for Rob Taylor's terrific strike that had them heading for the break in front. The hosts appeared to have hung on for a vital win, but right at the death, Lee Collins' missed kick was pounced on by former Vale defender Luke Prosser, who probably should stay away from Staffordshire for a while.
Got to start with Edgar Street, really, the events there, and a fantastic performance for Hereford against the leaders.
Well, the 3-point deduction obviously galvanised.
Do you think it spurred them on?
Oh, definitely. You know, this is a strike. Stephen Lacy, I think, is on loan from Shrewsbury. He's a lovely strike. He has got a good left foot, and this goal from Colbeck, a great finish. I mean, he's allowed to just keep going, and he takes the space. He says, "OK, I'll drive in there and I'll put it in the top corner." An excellent finish, and Jamie Pittman's done an absolutely marvellous job there.
So, what about the points deduction? Your thoughts on those?
Well, I heard Hereford, because they got 3 points deducted and Torquay only got 1, but they gained 3 points from the game because they actually beat Torquay 3-1.
So that stands?
That stands. Yeah. So they have those 3 points taken away, and Torquay lost the game, so they got no points, and they got deducted 1 point. So I would have thought that Torquay might have felt a little bit hard done by it, that Hereford maybe should have got 4 points deducted.
Maybe it galvanised Torquay's performance. 3 goals at Valley Parade was no mean performance from them. As for Stevenage Borough, well, they continue to have a terrific season. First ever season in the Football League. It was a draw, but this is a gutsy performance from them.
Yep, it's a late draw. You know, they've been playing very well. You know, Laurie Wilson keeps coming up with important goals. He's a full-back and he doesn't score many, but that's an excellent goal. You can see how much he enjoyed it, and Graham Wesley's certainly got them fit and driving forward.
Yeah, he has. Now in 10th place, but still only 2 points off the playoffs, are Rotherham. They travelled to Cheltenham, who shipped in 8 goals last week. Not the most illustrious chapter, it has to be said, in the Robins history books.
It's been a long, hard slog to establish football in what's traditionally a rugby and horse racing stronghold. Cheltenham Town were formed in 1887 by Albert Close White, who found out about the game of association football while away in London at Teacher Training College. It was another 112 years before the club played league football. Steve Cottrell's appointment as manager in 1997 was the catalyst. During his 5 seasons in charge, Cheltenham were promoted 3 times. Throughout all their years as a non-league club, their only FA Cup giant killing was a solitary win over Carlisle in 1933. Their next victory over a league club in the competition wasn't until 2000. In 1973, they actually forgot to enter. It was in 1932 that Cheltenham began playing here at Whaddon Road, on the site of what was once the kennels for the Berkeley Hunt. And they're not short of entertainment in these parts. Last week they lost 8-1 to Crewe, while in the last 3 years they've played in games that have finished 6-4, 6-5, 5-4 and 6-3. Are we sure this is football? Sounds more like tennis.
That 6-4 scoreline came back in August as Cheltenham and Rotherham served up one of the games of the season, with the Yorkshire club taking the points. The Millers were soon hopeful of repeating the feat as they try to breathe new life into their push for the playoffs. When Cheltenham struggled to clear their lines just 11 minutes in, Jason Taylor was ready and waiting. Rotherham had lost their last two and paid the price here for failing to find a second goal. They had plenty of chances, but when Jamie Anderson fumbled a free kick, Andy Gallagher pounced to end Cheltenham's three-game losing streak and edged them ever so slightly closer to safety.
Yeah, good show of character from Cheltenham there. Now, earlier we saw Stockport's league status hanging by a thread, but what of the two teams immediately above them? Burton Albion, with games in hand but not winning many of them, travelled to Morecambe, whilst Barnet faced a Crewe side who went goal crazy last time out.
Barnet continued to build up ahead of steam under new gaffer Martin Allen. A header from Aussie Daniel Leach gave the Bees an 11th minute lead against poor travellers Crewe, only his second league game since September. And when Isel McLeod went into double figures for the season on 26 minutes, it looked like a routine 3 points for the strugglers. But things are rarely that simple at Underhill, and sure enough, it all changed in first half stoppage time. Matthew Parsons, on loan from Crystal Palace, deemed guilty of a handball by referee Mark Brown. Clayton Donaldson rolled his spot kick straight down the middle. Luckily for him, Barnet keeper Sam Walker had dived to his left. 10 league defeats in a row on their travels will probably keep Crewe out of the playoff shake-up. Ashley Westwood summing up their inability to defend away from home. But there was a late twist. Already booked for time-wasting, Barnet keeper Walker, on loan from Chelsea, threw the ball away, only to receive a second yellow in stoppage time as Mr Brown applied the letter of the law. But Barnet hung on and are now within touching distance of safety.
Worrying times for Burton. Only goal difference keeps them out of trouble. Chris McCready delivered an early blow by poking Morecambe into a 14th minute lead. Paul Pescaslido's men just haven't made the most of all those games in hand, and midway through the second half they were heading for a third successive defeat on the road. Danny Carlton thumped in his third of the campaign to double Morecambe's advantage and virtually wipe out any lingering relegation fears. But the dreaded drop is something Burton can't shy away from. Jacques Mahoma summed up their luck in front of goal. But if at first you don't succeed, try again. Mahoma should have at least hit the target with his second attempt. And when Mahoma did make it count, it was far too late. His fourth of the season, little more than a consolation. Burton in big trouble, and up next a daunting trip to Bury on Tuesday.
Worrying times for Burton Albion, but could the great escape be on for Barnet? Now, I read here Martin Allen has banned pasta and water from the players' diet. Whatever he's done, it's certainly working.
He just wants them to have fun and start enjoying it. He's obviously gone there, seen that they're down in the dumps. He just wanted to lift their spirits. And Martin's a masochist as well. He'll go there and enjoy that situation as well.
He's unique. Yeah.
Absolutely unique, but he's perfect for that scenario. He'll just want to turn them around, get a smile on their face, and it seems to be working.
As for Burton, though, they're having to play catch-up here. It's catching up with them, isn't it?
Well, I mean, we did a thing a while ago. We said if they won all their games, they'd be in the playoffs, and they haven't won any of them.
No, I know.
And when you're in
kind
that
of
sort of
regret showing that graphic now.
Absolutely. You know, it doesn't matter about games in hand. It's points on the board, and Paul Pescaslido is now finding that out. It's tough times there.
I suppose lack of experience in the league, as it's only their second year in the Football League, counts against them.
Of course it does, and it was always going to be difficult because they didn't go up in a blaze of glory when they were in the lower league. But you know, if they can just dig out a result, that can turn it around just as quickly.
OK, time for League Two fans to have their say. Tina.
In just a sec. First, I'm going to go back to League One very quickly. I have to mention Marcus Stewart because I said I would. He played his last league game today for Exeter at Bristol Rovers, and one message says he chose to retire today and not wait until the end of the season because Rovers were his first club and he felt it was the right thing to do. Best of luck for the future, and thanks for all you do for us at Exeter. Now, on to League Two. Oxford threw away a 2-0 lead today against Wickham. Rosie wants to know, this is to Leroy, do you think Oxford, who are now 11th, will reach the League Two playoffs as we blew a 2-0 lead?
I didn't think they'd get there even before they blew that, because they're just the 5 points. I think 7 points now between them and the playoff place. I don't think the sides in those playoff positions are going to blow enough points for them to get through. But it's been a great season for Chris Wilde and his team, and they should be very proud of what they've achieved already.
On to the big League Two shock from today. Hereford thrashing Chesterfield. Giles says, what a brilliant win against the top team. Amazing goals. Martin says, Hereford are very hard done by. He's talking about their points deduction in the week. They were docked 3, but the players responded well by thumping Chesterfield 3-0. The second league leaders to be defeated today. The fact that Hereford were given a 3-point deduction for what was a minor admin error is annoying enough, but for Torquay to only get a 1-point deduction for the same error beggars belief. That's Mark. And boost for Torquay, who also had a point deducted this week by the Football League, a 3-0 win over Bradford. Anna says it's too steep. That's all I've got time for. Thank you for all of your texts and emails. Thanks.
OK, thanks, Tina. Well, before we go, let's take a look at the league tables. And it was a rare off day, it has to be said, for Chesterfield at the top of NPAL League 2, but nonetheless they need just 4 more points to secure promotion. Bury are looking to join them. They're into the top 3 at the expense of Shrewsbury. Gillingham are back into the playoff spots after hitting Lincoln for 4. Barnet are still in the bottom 2, but only on goal difference now after claiming their first back-to-back wins of the season. And it's Burton and Northampton who are nervously looking over their shoulders. The Champagnes very much on ice at Brighton. They lead NPAL League 1 by 13 points after their 10th home win in succession, and an 11th against Dagenham on Tuesday will see them back in the Championship. Southampton, well, they're in pole position to follow them. The Saints took advantage of the draw between Huddersfield and Peterborough to move back into the automatic promotion places for the first time in 3 months. There were wins for the bottom 2, Plymouth and Swindon, to keep alive their hopes of a great escape. But the big movers were Dagenham, who are up to 19th after winning their crucial match against Notts County. As a result of that, managerless County are in the relegation zone, and they've now lost their last 7. The top 2 in the NPAL Championship were comfortably beaten, but with Norwich losing, the race for second is wide open. And with just 1 point now separating them, Cardiff and Swansea. Reading aren't out of it either. They're up to 5th. And they've now won their last 6 games. Scunthorpe are off the bottom in style after thumping leaders QPR, but they still have 5 points to make up on Crystal Palace if they're to defy the odds and survive. And they've got a chance to close the gap when they meet the Eagles at Selhurst Park next week, and that's going to be a real relegation 6-pointer. Now, to watch the show back again, we're on the red button until midday, but on Freeview only until 6 this morning. And you'll be able to see highlights of all the weekend's games on the BBC Sport website. There's more football, of course, coming up on Sunday. Match of the Day 2 rounds up the weekend's Premier League action at 10:25 on BBC One. And we're back next Saturday at the same time of 11:35. Well, that's your lot for tonight. My thanks to Tina and to Leroy. Have a great week. Good night.